we weren't out here getting murdered for colors out here, you know what I'm saying? But one of the things that we were doing is we were hustling, you know what I'm saying? We were getting bread through the dope game and stuff like that. And one of the things that I learned early on is that those same things that you were learning there, you could take that to the business world. You could have success by putting those same principles that you learned on the streets. And so a lot of times what we see is that the things that you learn in the street, you know what I'm saying, if you just have the right mentor, the right people to guide you, and this is what we trying to do here. Like, this is the whole reason for Men Talk. Like, this is the reason why I wanted to have these kind of conversations, because I wanted to let people in on what it is. I want them to see us men, especially us black men, in a more positive light, because we've been painted a picture that we've been savages, you know what I'm saying, that we out here doing the most. And sometimes it really be that, because we've saw that so long that we start participating in that, you know what I'm saying? And so what you're trying to say is that, you know what I'm saying, you work with all these kids, these children, because you're trying to change the perspective. And I
Welcome to Big Guy Journey, where I stand on faith, fitness, family, finance, and freedom. When I say freedom, I'm talking freedom of the mind, because the journey starts in your thoughts. Let's go.
I'm gonna title this one right here, Man Talk. And we talk about leading the youth. I actually got one of my cousins out in Vegas. He gonna be hopping on with me. I'm about to go ahead and invite him and invite some more people, so bear with me. But yeah, I'm excited about this one. Y'all in for a real treat. We're gonna be talking some real stuff. Woo, woo. Give me a minute, I'll be right back. Yeah. Bad. Yeah. Everybody. There we go. All right. So give him a minute. I just sent these invites out. See my cousin come on in here. This is gonna be my first time ever having a guest on live, so let's see how this works. Let's see if he got the invite. Yeah. What's up, Cuzzo? Now, I think all you have to do is okay, there you go. There we go. Go live. Here we go. I see it's buffering, so give him a minute. He'll be here in a second. What up, cousin?
What's up, big cousin?
Man, I'm chilling. Really, he ain't lost, but you know what I'm saying? But it's like we ain't grow up together like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we his mother and my mother are sisters, but he grew up out there on the West Coast, and I grew up here on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? And so we didn't have a lot of time to get to know each other and to kick it. You know what I'm saying? In fact, the first time that I've ever met him was probably was back in November when I went out to Vegas. Hold on, he got kicked off. I'm gonna get him back. Y'all bear with me. Bear with us. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
I do.
Okay. All right. Bet. So what I was telling everybody is, you know what I'm saying, it's like you my long lost cousin. You know what I'm saying? But not really lost. It was just the fact that, you know what I mean, that we didn't grow up together. You know what I'm saying? Like this the other day, I had a good conversation with Donovan. You know what I'm saying? But me and Donovan, we've been growing up ever since we were younger, so we know a lot about each other. You know what I'm saying? And me and you, our first time meeting was back in November when I was out in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? But that's just us meeting in person. But you know what I'm saying? We've been meeting through Facebook and social media. But one of the things that I've grown to respect and love about you right off the bat Is this your passion for people, for the truth, you know what I'm saying, for knowledge, for wisdom? And this the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you've already established yourself like as a mentor in your community, like, you know what I mean, you constantly putting up videos, you know what I'm saying, helping these young children, you know what I'm saying, teaching them how to fight, teaching them how to, you know what I'm saying, defend themselves through boxing and this discipline and stuff like that. And that's the stuff that I'm on, like, you know what I'm saying. So I love that and I respect it about you. And I didn't really want to take too much of your thunder because I really actually want you to tell your story, you know what I'm saying. So tell the people who you are, and you know what I'm saying, a little bit about your company and about what it is you're doing out there in Vegas.
Okay, no problem. I go by Trahil Williams. My mother's Carol Williams, those of y'all in the family. Like he said, man, it's been a long time. I just recently met him, and I'm about to turn 35 this year. But what I'm learning about the family is the stock of the blood is so strong already that us in this generation is almost all on the same thing. You know what I mean? We're in the era of information, and we're using that information as a strength. You know what I mean? Especially coming from you and Donovan and some of our other cousins. We really strong individuals. And the way we influence the youth is everything. Every decision that we make, they watching. You know what I mean? And coming up in the atmosphere that I came up, it wasn't a lot of positive influences, especially when it came to masculinity. You know what I mean? To be able to showcase your hands and to be able to have stature and demand respect amongst your peers was rare unless you was in a gang-related situation. You know what I mean? And now that we're older, we can really see the benefits and the cons of being in that type of situation. You know what I mean? Before I go any further, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. A lot of people that I grew up with was looking for acceptance. You know what I mean? They were looking for a role they can play, a category that they fit in. And being in a legit battle war zone, which was Southern California or LA in general, you was kind of split amongst two sides. You was either part of it or you were a neutral. And it was almost worse being a neutral. You know what I mean? And growing up around that and being forced into a side regardless of your family and friends and their alliance to whatever side it was, you were forced in a direction. And what I'm trying to show the youth is you can stay positive and you can get everything that was positive out of that without taking that negative turn. Whether it's defending yourself, whether it's making a bunch of money, or whether it's falling in love, or whether it's whatever you want to do, you don't need to look at it as in a negative light. And what's happening is being turned into a commodity. It's being turned into something cool. It's cool to be dumb. You know what I mean? It's cool to have a negative perspective on life. It's cool to not enjoy the good days, to twist your face up, to not smile. And I've been teaching a little homie the other day that it take, twice as many muscles to frown than it is to smile.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys are afraid to smile and showcase that humble side because of a status or something they trying to prove amongst their peers. And that's what I'm trying to fix, man. I'm trying to fix that through something that people can relate to. And fighting, as you know, is a sport that was there in the beginning of time. You're talking about before basketball, you're talking about before soccer, before any type of sport that was organized, there was fighting. You know what I mean? And I'm a firm believer of using the weapons that you were born with. I'm not fond of guns. I don't like any projectile weapons or any type of weapon that don't take skill to master. You know what I mean? I'm all about honor. I'm all about compassion, but there is rage. We all have that rage buildup. And if we can release the rage, controlled rage amongst each other, iron sharpens iron. And that's what I want people to understand is we can all develop and release that testosterone buildup in a positive nature. And that's what boxing is.
Man, you know, I mean, you just said so much in there, and one of the things that stood out to me was something that I talked about last week about like adversity breeding resiliency. You know what I'm saying? And like knowing this, like the small amount of what you told me about, like, you know what I'm saying, your past and what you've been through and through the games and all those different things. What you've done is you've taken you've taken the things that you learned, you know what I'm saying, and you are using it in this day and age, you know what I'm saying, in a more positive way. And that's how it is for me. Like, we didn't have games here, you know what I mean? Like, we used to say 7-4, you know, folk and all of that, GD, you know what I'm saying? But it's not nothing like it was out there in California, you know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't out here getting murdered for colors out here, you know what I'm saying? But one of the things that we were doing is we were hustling, you know what I'm saying? We were getting bread through the dope game and stuff like that. And one of the things that I learned early on is that those same things that you were learning there, you could take that to the business world. You could have success by putting those same principles that you learned on the streets. And so a lot of times what we see is that the things that you learn in the street, you know what I'm saying, you just have the right mentor, the right people to guide you. And this is what we try to do here. Like, this is the whole reason for Men Talk. Like, this is the reason why I wanted to have these kind of conversations, because I wanted to let people in on what it is. I want them to see us men, especially us black men, in a more positive light, because we've been painted a picture that we've been savages, you know what I'm saying, that we out here doing the most. And sometimes it really be that, because we've saw that so long that we start participating in that, you know what I'm saying? And so what you're trying to say is that, you know what I'm saying, you work with all these kids, these children, because you're trying to change the perspective. And I love that, man. Like, I love seeing your videos of you teaching them how to box and stuff, because it's more than just about fighting. It's about discipline. It's about self-awareness. It's about all those different things, and bro. So like,
I'm glad you brought that up, man. that self-awareness is number one. And you know what? We are a product of our environment. You know what I mean? And some,
oh,
and
bro,
some of us
go ahead. I'm sorry.
are a product of our environment. Some of us come up in the most rugged of atmospheres. You know what I mean? But you know what? If you apply the right pressure to a piece of coal, it becomes a diamond.
Diamond, yeah. You
know what I mean? If you allow that coal to sit in the fire, it burns up and never gets the opportunity to shine. You know what I mean? So when you take a person that's being oppressed out of a situation and allow him to enjoy something and put his effort into it, you no longer harboring a killer. You're no longer creating a wild soul. What you're doing is allowing the person to evolve. And what evolution does is it's a viral effect. Everybody amongst their circle gets touched by it, and they want to enhance and they want to evolve. So what you causing a wave that everybody can ride, instead of you trying to ride somebody else's wave financially, right? You do something positive, it rolls over to the next person and do something positive. You always find those negatives in the bunch. But one thing about boxing is the negatives don't really last too long in this bunch. You know what I mean? The same influences that teach you how to kill really don't thrive in the boxing scene. You know, you really have to have a heart in a boxing scene. And when you can actually showcase this sport, this talent in this sport without a fear of being killed, you see these kids blossom, man. And I've been in a situation to where they would try to force me to lose high school basketball games because they got money on it and threaten my life with it. You know what I mean? So you gotta put the youth in a positive situation so they can see positive things. That's going to promote positive outcomes. And that's the mathematical equation, man. All the other stuff falls into the categories. You know, you can go the fighting route, or you can go the personal training, exercise, yoga route. You can go any discipline of martial arts, or you can do anything that you want to do, from aviation to a myriad of different things that you want to do. But what you got to do is show these kids that it's reachable. You got to show these kids that it's amongst their grasp. The brain is something that needs to be unlocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just like us growing up and learning how to walk, that influence allows us to learn faster. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
become gangsters because that's what's pumped into our blood.
Right.
That's what's
Yeah.
thrown into our way of thinking, our path, our mindset. It's hard to articulate anything else. And then we got mascots that promote a way of life, whether it's the club life or women shaking or dancing provocative, or the music, or you idolizing a rapper or any type of situation to where it takes you away from
Yeah.
the evolution process.
Yeah.
All of this is a defrag. Drinking, smoking, gang banging, all of this is a defrag. It's meant to keep you from elevating. The evolution button stops when you get involved with this type of ignorance. This is called ignorance, right? But at the same time, some of these kids don't have a choice. They are born into this war.
Exactly.
And the positive, the most righteous warriors really gets the least amount of time with these kids.
Right.
So every time I cross a kid that's going through it or a kid that hasn't gone through it yet, I make sure my influence lasts forever in teaching them something positive.
Man, that's so dope, man. That is so dope. And I know you talked about like the product, their environment. You know, my book is called Trey, Product of the Culture. A book that I'm writing, that I'm working on, and that's what it's really all about, because it's literally like your culture, your environment is shaping you. I know that I worked for a juvenile facility for like 10 years, right? And like we would literally take young boys out of inner city Detroit, and we would bring them down here to where I live. And like, you know, we had this big facility out in the country. We would take them to colleges. Like, I'm talking about doing things like planting flowers, bro. And just from like them planting flowers and them seeing like college people and stuff walk around, they'd never been outside their city. And this alone started to transfer their mind. I had this one kid, I can't even mention people's names, but I had this one kid that, you know what I'm saying, like he really hung on to me. Like I started taking him to Bible study. He just started rolling with me a lot. You know, they had gave me permission to start taking him alone. And you know, this young man, he got out, man. He went to the military, you know what I'm saying? He's living somewhere doing really good now. But that was because his environment changed. Like, I mean, like literally they were seeing people die every week. Their boys die every week. And the only thing they knew is that I'm going to die here soon too. You know what I'm saying? But when they the environment, I mean, just to see, I mean, they weren't going to college, but they were in a place that was clean, that had structure. And so now just thinking about like what you're doing, all you're doing is you're redirecting all of that energy into something positive. You know what I'm saying? And see, the thing that I love about it, and you said it, man, you was like, this the fact that we didn't grow up together, we family, but we didn't grow up together. And we're still like we on this same wavelength, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Donovan, he's on this same, like it's so many of us on this same wavelength, bro. Like we literally could change so much. This a few men, not because you know they see the world and mostly the picture that they're painting of us, and they see the rappers and all that stuff. But still, if it's people that can touch them, man, we can make the world a difference, and that's what you're doing, man. That's what I love about it. And real quick, this give your company a shout out and kind of tell us what exactly you do in your company, though.
All right, my company name is the Start Program LLC. What we doing is a personal training program. We offer muscle growth, weight loss and conditioning, weightlifting, specializing in boxing. We're just about to open up the water aerobics, and I'm about to be contracted with the YMCA. So my main objective was to touch the youth as far as creating men and not bullies. Boxing creates men. It creates passionate men that are balanced and poised. We release the testosterone in training or in competitive combat. We don't have no time to pressure civilians. Once you have registered hands, it's a different mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But erasing the boxing, the personal training side of it is to get people out of their sedentary lifestyle. And the sedentary lifestyle is you sitting on the couch and you creating muscles impurities and imbalances in your muscle groups because you sitting too long, or you causing damage to your health because of your diet or your lack of exercise. What I'm trying to do is shine a light on the fact that we fear cancer. We fear all these bodily diseases, but we don't do anything to prevent them. If we start preventing these bodily diseases early in life, we don't have to worry about this high percentage rate of us dying due to cancer or due to diabetes or due to any other bodily diseases that we may fall victim to. What we need to understand is we need to be teaching this. This needs to be taught in school. This needs to be a subject that parents are drilling into these kids at the tender age of them being able to feed themselves. We need to be making good choices. We need to let them know what red meat does to the system. We need to let them know what processed foods do to the system, or what color fruits and vegetables do for your health. You know, regardless of what your faith is or what you believe, the fruits are color coded. The vegetables are color coded for our convenience. You know what I mean? Everything is mapped out. We live in a perfect system, all the way down to the water that we need to consume. We need to learn these things. Of course, we're going to bend the rules left and right. You know, we might bend the rules, have a cheat day here and there, but listen, if we understand the difference between bending the rules and I don't have time to make food today, we can have a better outcome. Because what's happening is we learn to go to McDonald's when we don't feel like cooking. We come into a habit to frying everything. I had fried food like 6 times last week, and I'm depressed about it. You know what I mean? And I'm the personal trainer. So even the trainers slip up sometimes, but you need to understand that there's a difference between being ignorant to the fact and making these choices just off the dribble. You know what I mean? If we're making the decisions off the dribble, then we purposely killing ourselves. But if we doing it because we ignorant to the fact, then we just falling into the trap. And guess what? We teaching our youth how to fall into the same trap we fallen victim to.
Man, you're absolutely right. And that's what, like, the whole idea of, you know what I'm saying, we perish for lack of knowledge, you know. And you just said something. You said no matter what religion you are. Like, and this is the thing that, like, you know, I'm really big on, you know what I mean? Because we all come from, like, religious backgrounds and stuff like that. And I think oftentimes what happens with that is that, you know what I mean, we could take this whole breaking generational curses. We could talk about, you know what I'm saying, prayer and going in your prayer closet and all those different things. But the one thing I always talk about is that the tangible things that you're able to do here on this earth, you need to be doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so the stuff that you're talking about, we need to start teaching this. Like not only in school, but in mosque and in churches and everything. Like these are things, like, because you said it's one thing to be ignorant about it, or just to like make decisions, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because we don't always make the right decisions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I try to live by, you know what I'm saying, like 70% of the time I want to be doing the right stuff when it comes to the foods I eat and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? but sometimes it don't always work, you know, like sometimes I get off track a little bit, but I got to reel myself back in because I know what to do. But the problem before that is that I didn't have a clue. Nobody tried to tell me. Nobody was telling me. I mean, some people be telling me you need to lose weight and stuff like that. But now that I know the game, I'm able to say, okay, like you just said, I done did too much eating out this week. Let me go and clean this up. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I love that, bro. I love that because that's the mindset we need to have. And this is the mindset we need to be transferring into this next generation. And that's what you're doing. So, bro, I appreciate you for that, for real, because the stuff you're talking right now, these are some real gems, man. And we gonna post this up because I want people to like take something from this, man. Because the reason I want to have these kind of talks is because not too many people having these kind of talks. You know what I'm saying? Especially on a level that, like I said, I mean, Okay, but matter of fact, let's just go in a little bit deeper, because let's talk about, like, you know what I'm saying, because you kind of told me that, you know what I mean, a little bit about the gang life and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, briefly you talked about like how you know what I mean, that was a part of your upbringing. Like, I, like, what was that like? You know what I mean? Like, because this is what brought you here to this point. Like, what was that like growing up for you?
You know what? I'd be lying and say if I didn't tell you it was a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful feeling to be accepted, especially by a source that was so deadly. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? When you walk amongst giants, you feel like a giant. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You get involved in the situations that you don't want to get involved in, but you love the person that you hang out with on a regular basis. And
yeah,
it was something like my father told me in the military. You might not fight for your country after you find out certain things, but you fight for the person you sleep next to in the bunk. You
yeah,
make sure he alive, you know what I mean? And a lot of people get stuck in that lifestyle because they lost somebody that was dear to them. You
mm,
know what I mean? And when you lose somebody that's dear to you and you got rivals that's trying to take your life, it really brings out the dog in you. It brings out the terror in you. But that's the playing field. A lot of people don't understand once you get involved, that's what's being forced onto you. So
mm,
you are the product of your environment. And just like we all understand, karma comes right back on us. So whatever we put out, we get in. But it's not a lot of people is as fortunate as I was. You know what I mean? My father was very much so in my life. And a lot of people that I grew up with that had that type of lifestyle didn't have that father orientation. They didn't have that family orientation. They didn't have that leadership role, period. And
yeah,
I didn't even know my family coming up for the most part, especially on my mom's side. But on my dad's side, the majority was gang related. And it was hard to deviate and do anything different. You know what I mean? If you
yeah,
did anything different or thought outside the box, you was ostracized. So I understand those kids wanting to be accepted by that. But at the same time, that shouldn't be the only thing they have access to.
yeah,
And when I was growing up, man, when you left the house, you didn't come back into the house until the street lights came on.
mm,
You know what I mean? If you came in the house before the street lights came on, you got kicked back out. And if you didn't get back in the house after the street lights came on fast enough,
you
you
got
got
locked out.
your butt whooped
Oh,
anyway. You know what I mean? So
okay.
we come from an environment to where fighting and physicality was at its best. You know what I mean? And when I was involved in it, it really wasn't too much gunplay at that time. It was a lot of masculinity or trying to be the dominant, but it wasn't really a lot of gunplay too much for the kids. But now, so it's really crazy. There was structure at one time. You had to ask permission to do certain things. You had rules and regulations that you had to follow. One of my favorite things about it was the older homies in our neighborhood would put us through something called a hand check. Now, a hand check would, train you how to use your hands for a hand-to-hand combat. It
Mm,
made you tough. It built character. You made yourself seeable. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They don't have that now.
yeah,
They don't have that now. They teaching how to shoot guns. They teaching you how to rob. They teaching you how to steal. Back when I was coming up, there was big homies putting influence on whatever we was good at, whether it was basketball or whether it was running, track and field, any type of different sports. You know what I mean? Some of the homies saw that I had, a knack for the education side. You know what I mean? I was in a chess club. I was in the spelling bees here and there. I was very intelligent in the mind, but exposed to the street
yeah,
atmosphere at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
So some of my positive homies would tell me, hey, concentrate on this instead of that.
Yeah.
But there was also influences trying to knock me off when they saw that I was worth a little bit more in weight. You know what I mean? So it's a trap, man. It's definitely a trap. The ones that make it through realize that how crazy it was, but it builds a stock. It builds a stock that you can live on for the rest of your life. You don't have to be crazy. You don't have to be a savage. But what you acquire is a backbone reinforced that it's hard to get pushed off your pivot.
Yeah. And I think that it's definitely I mean, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, I think you were blessed too in a way, such a way, because like some of the children that I work with, these young boys, a lot of them were in similar situations, but they were so gone, like they were like the culture of gain for them was so different. Like one of the gentlemen told me that if a person came down in their neighborhood and they didn't know who it was, that sometimes they would just shoot at their car. And he told me that one time he shot at a car, and it turned out that it was one of his homie's grandparents. You know what I'm saying? And so it was this reckless. Like he didn't end up killing her or hitting her, but it was so reckless. And I think a lot of that is shaped by like the stuff that they're hearing in the music and like the stuff like that's being portrayed to them. You know, so you had people that was kind of like still had some sense, and you know, like you said, gunplay wasn't there as much at the time. But with that being said, because you named off a couple things earlier, you talked about like the different influences, drinking, smoking. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in a culture that promote all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hypersexuality, all of those different things. And one of the things we talked about on the last Man Talk with me and Donovan, we talked about was self-mastery. Like, you know what I'm saying? And especially like I don't think that this is common for a lot of men, especially when it comes to us dating and stuff like that. A lot of women don't really even think that we exist. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that I ain't just trying to get into your drawers. Like I did when I was younger. That's what I was chasing back then. But now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at different things, you know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to self-mastery, it ain't for you, it's literally for me. I'm trying to be the best I could be. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that mindset, when you master yourself, we talked about how Donovan got up to run, you know, he was running 12 miles in the summer, like without no water, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it pushes you to a different level when you get to that point where you want to master your craft or master yourself. But I think a lot of what's blocking us is like these young kids is this the message that's coming across, you know what I'm saying, the airways. And so like one of the things I like about what I respect about you, another one is the fact that you have a family, you got a wife and a child, and you know what I'm saying, so you being that man in your life, in your family life, you being that example. And so when it comes to like music and stuff like that, I don't promote nobody. I barely listen to, I listen to people who have that structure, like Toby, like this dude Lavelle Nice, you know what I'm saying? I like people who are actually promoting these kind of things. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to promote I like promoting people that promote their family, you know what I'm saying, their wife, their children, because that's what I think that we need to be doing, you know what I'm saying? And so I respect that about you. Can you tell us like how long you know what I'm saying, like you actually been a father and a husband, and like, you know what I mean, and just like what does that mean to you? What place is that for you?
Oh man, family means everything. And a lot of people would look at me and be like, wow, you didn't have your brothers and your sisters around like everybody else. How are you so family oriented? You know, I put that on my father, man. My father very much so was with me hand in hand through the whole phase. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, my mom was in and out of prison. And even though she was very caring, it was a lot of adversity brought from that side too. So me and my dad was very, very close, man. And he was a lot older than usual fathers. He conceived me at 55 years of age. So you can imagine the structure that I came up with. He would make me make the bed up a certain way. He'll flip a coin on the bed. If it didn't bounce, he ripped the covers off the bed. You know what I mean? He only whipped me one time, and that's all it took. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? After
yeah,
that, it was just a look. Once he look
yeah.
at you, you know, it's just a wrap. So that type of respect, man, all the way through his life. And he passed when I was 22, right before my 22nd birthday. And I was taking care of him hand and foot. We were staying together and stuff like that. So it's very passionate to be able to look at my son the way he looked at me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It means everything to me, my son. And I look at my son like my Hall of Fame, my replacement.
Mm.
This is the representative that's going to represent me and my bloodline when I leave, just like I represent my father. Every opportunity I get, you know what I mean? It's a representation of him. You know what I mean? And my queen, Travia Janice Reed Williams, was humble enough to deal with my negativity and give me my son. So
Yeah.
she has a very valuable role in what I am, in my entire, you know what I mean? And I learned at a very young age that you cannot get a king without a queen. It takes a
Mm.
woman to make a man,
Mm.
literally. And I'm not talking about 9 months in the womb. I'm talking about giving you the obligation that promotes evolution in itself. Like the concept you brought up was self-mastery.
Mm.
You can't master self without self-esteem. Self-esteem promotes leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're a leader, you get the role and you get the obligation with family.
Yeah.
Now, tending to this family is going to bring you in a myriad of different struggles, a myriad of different downfalls. You're going to have to recover. You're going to have to predetermine, you premeditative thinking. You're going to have to adapt to what life brings. And
Yeah.
this solidifies your role as a king. See, what we're going through right now is a building process. To me, it feels like we're making a less selfish angel. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is when you're born into a Fortune 500 lifestyle, you have a very spoiled mentality.
Yeah.
It's hard to change you out of this spoiled mentality. But when you're born into poverty, when you're born into suffering, when you're born into adversity,
Diversity. Yeah.
you get less selfish
Yeah.
mentality. You're
Yeah.
making a better specimen. You're
Yeah.
making a better human being, well-rounded. And I believe it affected me to where I take everything in my circle very seriously. And my family is my immediate circle.
Hey, that's dope, man. That's real dope. I mean, bro, you was kicking some knowledge right there, man. And you know, like the thing about it is like the the scenario that you gave was so much different than what most of us had, because you said your mother, my auntie, was in and out of prison, and your dad was the one that you had the most time with, right?
Yeah.
And like I always wonder, because like you kind of a, how old are you? Because you a lot younger than me, I think.
Yeah, I'll be 35 in October.
35, and I'm 41, right? But you know what I'm saying? Just like with Donovan, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all like old souls, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are young, but so much knowledge and wisdom, so much above your time, bro. Like a lot of 30 like people your age ain't it's not that well rounded, you know what I'm saying? And I love that,
Appreciate
man. And just the fact that, you know what I mean, like you had that relationship with your father. That's something that a lot of us didn't have, bro. I don't even know. I never even met my father at all. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just telling somebody the other day, like, you know, I used to be feeling like I don't really need him because I ain't, you know, I never know him, I ain't miss him or nothing like that. But I've been on this road of self-discovery and understanding myself with dealing with, you know what I'm saying, dealing with different women and dealing with different scenarios. I started to see where, okay, well, yeah, I needed my dad in my life. You know what I'm saying? I needed a man in my life.
it.
I needed that covering, you know what I mean? And I ain't too
Yeah.
big to say that I fall short in some areas, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it's about, identifying those things and fixing them. You know what I mean? But see, a lot of things don't come second nature to me that probably come second nature to you. This is something that I have to put effort into. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think that, you know what I mean, one of the things that we are missing in as a society is that many of us young men don't have that role. One of the things I talked about was my mother, how I always saw her as like, I always saw her like a superhero, right? I always felt like, you know what I'm saying, like if I'm telling my mother, like if anybody mess with me, I'm telling my mother, you know what I'm saying? My mother was out in the streets, you know what I'm saying? She hustled, sold drugs, all that stuff, right? And so the thing about it is I always thought, like, I looked at her as like taking a masculine role, right? And so one time, you know what I'm saying, when I got older, she ended up getting she ended up getting a man, right? And all of a sudden my mother become this soft, submissive person. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what's up with my mama though? Like, I kind of got mad though, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the nature. Like, that was her nature, and that's how it was supposed to be. Because she was the single mother, she had to take on all of this masculine energy and masculine role. And so, like, this was one of the things I didn't understand because I never had a man that was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so this is one of the areas that I fell short in. But see, you had that, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure you got the feminine for other places, and when Auntie was there, you know what I mean? But is this, man, like, bro, like, I'm so proud of you, man. Like, if you ain't do nothing else, just for you being that constant role model in your son's life, man, that means everything. Everything, for
Definitely
real.
appreciate that, man. But you know, don't go without tooting your own horn, man. You have definitely been an influence that we all, especially in our family, we should definitely look up to, because you touching a level that we ain't felt like we can reach,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to publishing and it comes to your survival story and what you then came from. And I really didn't know a lot about you, but as far as from the grapevine, I always heard stories, you know what I mean? Especially from Aaron, from my older brother, you know what I mean? So big ups to you, man.
yeah.
Your journey ain't stopping here, man. You got a long story to write, brother.
Oh
And
yeah,
you're going
oh
to be
yeah.
touching a lot of people, you know what I mean? And being your younger cousin, it's a pleasure to be able to look up and see that the sky is bright. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because just like your character in that book, the sky is the limit, and you really setting a positive role model for my son, everybody else that you done touched, all your friends and family that's growing up, and everyone that's younger than you, that we can use our brain for something better. And
man.
that's what my Start program is about. That's what any righteous man is going to be about, is setting the bar high and teaching another person how to reach it. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. Real talk.
Hey man, I appreciate that, man. Like, is this a mutual respect? 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, it just feel like we said, we known each other forever, bro. But is this amazes me how y'all work though, because like for us to be so connected, you know what I mean? Like I literally feel like I've known you my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
and I always knew about you, but it's just that we ain't never been close. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
like,
You know what I'm learning about that, man? What I'm learning about that, and without putting emphasis on religion, the word changes, but the energy stay the same. And when you got something as deep as a bloodline,
mhm.
that bloodline speak volumes, man. And I don't need to
Right?
know you. I
Yeah,
don't need to know you. You
yeah.
know, we ride similar, we walk similar, we think similar. Our initiatives are parallel.
Mm.
Regardless of how you think about it, our initiatives is parallel. And when you got that type of stock that we got, man, all it takes is a 2 minutes in a handshake to realize. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah,
very positive. And then our parents are some riders, man. Our parents
yeah.
are cold 100 percenters, man. And you know what? I wish that more people would have such a positive outcome to the war zone, because
Mm.
life is a test, and
Yeah,
adversity brings crazy feelings, crazy emotions, and a lot of people are not being taught how to handle it. and it's very rare to see people come out of it stronger.
Yeah, yeah.
After the pressure, stronger, rehabilitated, fortified. You know what I mean? Regardless of what your beliefs is, we should all be focusing on evolution. And this is what we trying to represent, man. Your big man journey, my youth star, the family, all these other entrepreneurs that's trying to finally find themselves. And we making records every year. We getting younger and younger and younger. As far as making money and making these business moves. And you know what? If we get the positive influence to ally and gather and congregate instead of rival and segregate, we can make this motion and this movement a lot faster and a lot more efficient.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's up, man. Well, look, I want to just ask anybody that's out there. I see a few of y'all, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all tuning in with us. We're going to post this up as well. Anybody, do any of y'all got any questions, any things that y'all might want to know about the Start program or about anything else that we got going on, you know what I'm saying? Big Guy Journey. You know what I'm saying? The whole reason why I wanted to start talking from this aspect, I actually hired a branding coach because I really wanted to like key in on like what it is exactly is that I wanna you know, the message I want to give off, because I do so many different things, you know what I'm saying, and I didn't really want to be scattered all over the place. But when I say that, you know what I'm saying, we focus on faith, family, fitness, finance, and freedom, and we talking freedom in the mind because the journey starts in your thought. I think that the very reason like this is happening is because it started with a thought. You know what I mean? I mean, the very thing is we just did an interview and Cuz was like, look, man, I got some stuff to say. And so here it is, like this is this manifestation, like this was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? I think that this conversation right here, I think that if a person listened to this conversation, man, it could take so much stuff from it. And this one conversation alone could change a lot of stuff in a lot of people's lives, you know what I'm saying? And so I just want to keep on moving in that direction, man. I appreciate you coming on, man, and I just think that this was a beautiful conversation. If you have anything that you want to say, anything that you want to end with, you know what I mean, I just let you do it real quick.
Man, I appreciate what you're doing. You know what I mean? Don't get distracted. Don't get knocked off your pivot. Keep moving forward, man. Like I said, you might get discouraged, but the encouragement that you are sharing with us, man, is priceless. It's Fortune 500, man. Keep doing what you're doing. This is the tip of the iceberg, you know, but at the end of our journey, when we laugh at 40 years from now, we're going to be like, man, it's been a rough ride, but at the same time, we're making it easier for the next group of riders. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what it comes down to, man. And I appreciate it. Thank you. Big ups to the family. Looking forward to seeing y'all soon. And I love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
I love you too, cuz. And I'm still looking forward to. I'm looking forward to getting me some land or me a place out there so I can have. I'm talking about multiple homes. You know what I'm saying? And one of them is going to be right out there in Vegas, so we could just be chopping it up more often. You know what I'm saying? My daughter already live out there, so it's coming, bro. We gonna be chopping it up real soon, man. A lot more often.
You know what? So. Leave your jackets in Michigan, man. You don't need none of them jackets out here, bro.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. When I was out there in November, I sure needed a jacket though. So I don't know.
You're right. You're right. For about 2 weeks, and then it's over with.
Hey, well, that's what's up, cuz. Love you, man. You be blessed.
All right? I love you too, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, for sure.
All right.
All right, everybody. We appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm going to be posting this as well on my page, but I appreciate everybody tapping in, all right? Y'all take care, take charge, and God bless you. Love all y'all.